Welcome, welcome, I'm glad you're here with me. You're not a stranger anymore, now you're family. Welcome, welcome, I'm glad you're here with me. Did you know you're one with God for eternity? Welcome, welcome, I'm glad you're here with me. You're not a stranger anymore, now you're family.
And welcome to Unity Spiritual Center of Lansing. I'm Reverend Sharon Ketchum, so happy to have you here with us on this absolutely fantastically gorgeous day. If you're with us for the first time, I hope you received a little bag of popcorn. Thank you for popping in. There's connection cards if you would like to get on our email list, and also coffee bar and snack bar is open over there. And here we just make ourselves comfortable. If you like something during service, please feel free to get up and help yourself. We are most importantly a prayer ministry. We have a wonderful prayer team, and if you have a concern or a celebration, our prayer box is over there behind the sofa. Online, you can send us an email at Unity, or there's also a place right on our website where you can submit a prayer request. Okay, let's take a deep breath and just affirm why we're here this morning together. We spiritually awaken to our oneness with God, with each other, and with all creation. And this mission comes out of a vision where we can see a world that is truly, powerfully transformed through a growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. Shared, to me, being the most important word, understanding that it's not a right or wrong answer, but it's honoring ourselves and each other wherever we are on that path, whatever that path may be. Let us affirm together. The enlightenment of the Buddha shines within us. The compassion of the Christ moves through us. The power of Jehovah strengthens and guards us. The presence of Allah surrounds and guides us. Wherever we are, the Tao is, and all is God. And with that, Greg's going to lead us in a beautiful prayer song. We're sharing equipment this morning.
Yeah, I forgot my clicker. Every prayer is answered, every prayer is heard, every thought and feeling, every spoken word, what your soul has longed for, what your heart can is already here, is already real. There is no one out there, there is no one else. You hold all the answers deep inside yourself. There's a voice that whispers, there's you know me. There's just one, there's just unity. One power, one presence, one light to lead the way, all loving, all knowing, that answers when you pray. When the world looks darkest and your eyes can't see, gather all your troubles, give them all to me. I am always always with you. I will always be. I am one. I am unity. We are one. We are
Thank you. That prayerful presence. By the way, I forgot to introduce Cats. Cats comes usually on the third Wednesday to share ASL. They are just I love watching them sign. I don't understand a word that's being said, but I feel it. So, anyway, it's a good time to pray for our neighbors. God knows we all need it. Coming up this week on the 24th is the 79th anniversary of the United Nations. And I had never read the preamble before this week. And we, the people of the nations of the world. And they wrote this when the world was so suffering after its Second World War, the mass destruction, the rebuilding, the loss of lives, that it might never happen again. And it was built totally on the idea of honoring individuals and freedom and progress for everyone, that we all might live a better life, but most importantly, that we honor each other and all of our differences. So, really hold the United Nations this week, or anytime, that they might really live into their proclamation of we the people, the nations of the world, have this greater justice, this greater humanity. Also, there's new ambassadors in the United States in Washington, two beautiful pandas, Bao Ling and King Bo. They will forgive me however I pronounce it. But I love, after doing the animal blessing last week, to think about these ambassadors from China coming over. We talked about last week about in the zoo, that the zoo considers the animals there as ambassadors to help teach us about nature and our connection. So it's nice that they have arrived over here. The Boeing strike ends. Anytime people come to resolution, that's all of us. Whenever we're unresolved, even with a neighbor or a family member, that contributes to conflict in the world. So when I hear this 30,000 employees come up with a resolution, yay! Okay, move that along. And we hold in our hearts prayers for the continued fighting and destruction in the Mideast and in Gaza and in Ukraine. And also, we're in recovery from the two hurricanes down south, Helene and Milton. What's coming out now, as people continue to do the work, are the wonderful stories of the heroes that did these little things. There was a lady down in North Carolina who was going to her home, and she saw the hurricane coming. A lot of hurricanes came. And she started driving backwards as fast as she could, and a couple were standing on their porch taking pictures, right? Post to Facebook, let's get a picture of this storm coming, not realizing a tornado was coming. When they heard her scream, went into the house, got the family and the kids in the safe space as hurricane came over, right within seconds. And the woman had her windows up. They couldn't have heard her scream. But they did connect afterwards on Facebook, and just that divine happenstance that saves lives, people that, search and rescue. So there is a lot going on. So with all of that, just to open up our hearts even wider this morning as we embrace with great love, admiration, all the people with whom we share this planet. Whatever their state of being in this instant, we seize them as the divine sees them, whole, courageous, wise, divinely guided in doing those things that they have chosen or find themselves doing because of circumstances, because of the compelling nature of that divinity within us. This morning, we just send out the love, the peace, that vibration of harmony, that all might be lifted up in our world. For this we say, thank you, God, and so it is. Amen. Okay, we have a little talk at the table, and then we'll come back together. My soul is welcomed here. But if you wanted advice, if you had to make a decision, who or where would you go for your advice? Yeah. I have to decide?
Yeah. It's like that's a hard one because I might go different places for different kinds of advice.
So
right? Or different
interesting.
people.
How do you decide?
Yeah, that's hard. I mean,
How do you decide who to go to?
well, Jill's always there as a really good
Spouses
source.
are good, yeah.
And then there's my mom. You know, it's always appropriate to go to your parent for some things, and you know, a lot of times meditation will do it for me.
The dog?
Yeah, they can impart all kinds of wisdom.
Yeah, just sometimes, maybe because they calm us,
Yeah.
and then there's room for that to get through.
Now that's a good point because I talk to my dogs all the time, and I get great advice from them. So, yeah.
It's kind of like, how many times if I got to write something, I'll go to Webster's to get the definition. You know, there's those like source things that you go to. And,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Ultimately from within, but we have influencers.
Yeah.
Influences in our life.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't do the influences on influencers like on TikTok and that kind of thing. I'm just old enough that doesn't really.
But our
are.
parents are influencers.
That's
our
right.
spouses are
And
influencers.
probably we are too. I mean,
Yeah, and we're
people
influencing
come
them.
to us, and maybe we don't even realize that's
Yeah.
what they're looking for, but they want to bounce something off of us or whatever.
Okay, well
let's
I'm going to
do,
turn this over to you, and
We haven't done this one in a while.
yeah,
Have
a
we?
few months. It's been
Yeah.
a few months.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's join together in My Soul is Welcome Here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 Oh, my soul is welcome here. 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 Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Is it on? It's live. My name is Lisa Haston. I'm the co-facilitator of the social committee with Maggie Bishop. So we're going to talk about that in just a minute, but right now let's read the daily word. And today's daily word is loving. It's inspired by 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient, love is kind. It bears all things, and it believes all things. It hopes all things, it endures all things. To be loving means to be kind, understanding, generous. It means forgiving grievances easily and seeking to understand ourselves and others. In striving to be loving towards others, we begin with ourselves. Exercising self-compassion when we make a mistake makes forgiving others easier. That's important. Forgive ourselves first. Taking time for self-care makes it more natural for us to be a nurturing presence for others. Frequently and spontaneously, love is the very nature of God. Since we are spiritual beings, we too have love as our very nature. Through our loving nature, we are positive, optimistic, helpful, and faith-filled. We are the heart and hands of God on earth. Let us affirm together. The boundless love of God expresses through me. I am loving. Unity's social team is one of the 7 main ministry teams. Maggie Bishop and I are co-facilitators, and we work together with other team members and congregants to plan opportunities to have fun and connect with each other. For example, we have monthly meals. We have lug nuts games we attend, and we also have trunk or treat this Saturday from 6 to 8 in the parking lot. And let me tell you about that a little bit. Each year, volunteers decorate the trunk of their cars. They fill up with sweet treats and gather in the parking lot to distribute the sweets and provide a safe and fun space for kids to experience Halloween. We need at least 2 more trunks to make this a joyful and special event for the children. You can sign up or bring your trunk you can sign up to bring your trunk on the back credenza. And if you have any questions or would like to get involved in the social committee, please see myself or Maggie Bishop. And now, special music. I'd like to welcome my DG sister, Winalee Zeeb, with her very special music. Carry it away.
Test. Oh, so fun. I was not expecting that. So this first selection is one of my dear buddy Janice Stanfield's creations called Amazing Things, which represents all of you. You will do amazing things with the joy each new day brings, and with every step you take is the progress that you make, the reason you live is there in every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams, you will do amazing things. Amazing, you will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things. Oh, the places you will go, and the people you will know. Don't worry when or where or how. You don't need to know that now. You're on the right track. No need to look ahead or back. Just enjoy what this day brings. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. You don't have to work it out. Just stay in the here and now. Let your mind rest for a little while. Sometimes deepest answers come when you're out there having fun. So close your eyes, take a breath, and smile. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You are doing amazing things. Yeah, that's the truth. Unity Band.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, speaking of amazing things, science, here we are, thousands of years on the planet, science keeps finding new things. And the one that amazes me right now is that I understood black holes had no light, that they sucked everything in. And now they're finding black holes with light coming out of it. And they're finding maybe even two strands and they kind of dance together. Now this is bending my mind. It goes, and then there's the synchronicity of the universe. So I've been thinking a lot about this light thing with the black holes that have no light, but now they do have light and they emit the light, and we're just finding out what's out there. And then in here we've been having a little difficulty with our light. At times we want it to be really bright. These pot lights, if you're a pot light person, are quite recessed. So they're limited on how much light we can get into the room. Okay, so hold that. You got the black holes, you got the pot lights here, and you got Halloween with pumpkins where you put lights in them. Okay, so of course we're going to have something about getting lights up here. We need 72 little lights of ours to brighten up the whole sanctuary. And if you want to know what it looks like, Winalee, she's got one there, and she'll tell you a little bit more about it later. But it was just, and then Winalee picked a song to sing that you hear later that's about light. So there's a synchronicity happening in the universe. And it's really hard to explain, but I'm just telling you, it's happening. It's going on. This is what's going on. So today we've been talking about the currency of things, currency of health, of just really this exchange of energy that we have. Now that we found out the black hole isn't as stingy as we thought it was. It doesn't just take in, it also gives out. Today we want to talk about the currency of the Christ within us, this Christ consciousness. And Carl Jung said, the essential task of man is to live the unique individual self he has been born, as truly as Jesus lived to the end which he was born. And as I think about that, I am very familiar with Jesus because I was raised in the Methodist Church. I understand him as his teachings I've heard since I was learning, since I could understand words. But it's a little more confusing about living to the end at which you were born. What does that exactly mean? So all of a sudden I got this image of a sunflower. And a sunflower lives to that purpose for which it's been born. And it always follows the light. You know, when you get those pictures out in the field where it's a field of sunflowers and they are just radiant there. And if the light moves, you know, they do too. I mean, these are plants that move, and they are just being exactly who they are, responding to the light. And maybe that's a little easier to explain about growing up to that purpose, you know, for which we were created, for which we were part of whatever is happening right now in this instant, to think about the simplicity of the plants or a great teacher. Wherever we go for that advice, for that guidance, it doesn't matter the name, it doesn't matter the status. It's just that we are looking for that guidance as we go through. So a little while ago, a few years ago, I guess it's been decades now, there was a big thing on bracelets, W.W.J.D, what would Jesus do? And everybody was wearing these. And this actually started in 1896. So we think things are new, we go, yeah, only a century or so ago. So this minister, Reverend Maxwell, he was out in Topeka, Kansas, and he gave a talk on this one day. And it was inspired by this little book in the Bible called 1 Peter. There's some little short books near the end. If you want to say you've read a chapter of the Bible, go to the end, except for Revelation. There's a lot neat little short ones in there. And it said in this verse he was sharing with his congregation, "For to this you have been called, because Jesus suffered for us, leaving us an example that we should follow in his steps." And there's a book out, In His Steps. But the idea of suffering for something had a different meaning back in the 1800s. And it was really to make it sacred, like to make the effort, if you will. So when we're talking about suffering to follow in his steps, it doesn't mean we should have pain and suffering. It means we should raise it up to that sacredness about taking a path that is purposeful for us. But many of the times in my life, and perhaps you too, have thought about there's a lot of suffering, the painful kind that comes with life. In the Buddhist tradition, they call this dukkha. Isn't that a great word? The dukkha of it all. And our dukkha, our suffering, our pain, comes from life. It's a pain to be born. It's a pain to die. It's a pain to get old. Sometimes we get the suffering from change, or that things are actually impermanent. Does anybody have an addiction to things not changing for a while? Could we just rest here for a minute? Hold it at high noon with perfect temperature, or something, you know. And then we also, besides the physical suffering that we go through, there's the existential questions that come in about why am I here? What am I supposed to do? What's the meaning of life? You know, the little simple questions that kind of pop up in our head. And I think the idea of Jesus' life has been reported, and I think whoever this man was, I didn't know him personally, inspired others to this greater vision of what life could be like, and the teachings that carried on with it. So I think that's why it's a really fascinating study to see what exactly would it mean if you say, what did Jesus do? What did Jesus do? So in 1 Peter, this continues and it says, when he was abused, he didn't return abuse. When he suffered, he did not threaten, but entrusted himself to the one who justifies justly. That he understood there was a justice in life, and it wasn't about reaction to something. Somebody does you wrong, I'm going to do them a greater wrong. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to right things. Whenever we try to right things, it's only to our measurement, if you will. That he was able to be the observer, to hold true to his standards from all the stories that we have of him, and not be swayed by the outer power, by the outer threats, by the outer pain. So if you think about some of the key things in his life, he was non-resistant. He's living in a country that is under control of the Roman army. He was empowered to do things that a lot of people were too afraid to do. And not only was he empowered, but he had a way of empowering others. He would say to them, you can do amazing things. You can do greater things than I. And also, he had this kind of co-creative intelligence. You know, I think co-creative intelligence comes in when you forget the culture, you forget all the things in the books that must be trained, but yet all that information kind of comes together and it takes it up a notch. You know, maybe these laws were created for a certain reason, but maybe there's a better way. He had a way of just really using that co-creative intelligence. So what exactly did he do? So we have this man, we celebrate his birthday every year, we have a lot of influences from Jesus. 2,000 years later, he was a rebel. He was an angry man. He had a group of people that were armed. Peter carried a sword. So this was not just namaste, you know. There was some stuff going on here. There was some rebellion. He split from his family. One time in Mark, his family came to get him because they thought he had lost his mind because he was going around preaching this stuff. And they said, your family's at the door. He goes, no, they're not. They're not my family. You all are my family. So this is not, you know, the peaceful pictures of nativity that we see where everybody is very happy. There is some struggle going on here, some different points of view that he had to work through. So he's part rebel, but he's also part peaceful. And so much of this, so there are records of him losing his temper, some of the favorite juicy stories. He was also grounded, and he was always seeking that universal truth, something that would transcend the conditions in which they lived, transcended the dukkha. I always forget which way. Okay. And there's a sense to me that he accepted all of himself. He knew that he wasn't perfect, and he knew he had this temper, and he knew he had this great sense of peace and prayerfulness and healing qualities, and that was all him, and that was okay. And if we want to strive to do something, boy, what a goal that is to me, to really embrace all parts of ourselves, the rebel and the peaceful. Something happened in his life that he openly answered a call to seek a spiritual path. We have stories about it, but only he knows the internal process. But he did leave a map of what his spiritual journey was like. He left a map of what his journey was like, and you know, our spiritual journeys are very personal. Only we can do it. But we can be inspired by what others do, and some of their steps might work from us, and some don't resonate at all, and that's okay. There's, you know, one God but many paths, okay? One of the other things that Jesus is quoted as saying when he was telling people about different ways of being that was a little less stressful, a little less strenuous, my yoke is easy, my burden is light. That when people were under great duress, again, being subverted, you know, to the Roman rule, my yoke is easy, my burden is light. And what he's talking about is letting go of that attachment to the outer. So we can go to that light. You see, light comes up again. It just keeps popping up. Light again. This light in the darkness. And maybe the burden is not only ways lighter, but there's a light where you can see things that you couldn't see before, that you get a different perspective. So Jesus went on the spiritual path, and we really don't know what happened between the ages of 12 and approximately 30. But something happened. Something happened that shifted him. Somehow he got this call. Something motivated him to take the path that only he truly knows. I remember going to ministerial school, and some of my classmates had these amazing experiences where they were called, that they had this moment where they knew that they had to go into ministry. And I didn't. And I go, oh, maybe I shouldn't have gotten in. Was I supposed to have one of these, you know, come to Jesus moments, or the white light comes down, boom, Sharon, it's time for you to apply. But there are many ways that we get the call. Some are quite dramatic, and some are just a still small voice that just keeps nudging you. And then pretty soon you're going, ooh, how did I get here? It feels right, but I'm not sure what happened. Some people get into that spiritual path because of a crisis. And I love the Chinese, you know, little symbol for crisis is a dangerous opportunity. Wow, That's gotten me through a lot of crises in my life, a dangerous opportunity. Could be an illness, could be thoughts of our own mortality, anything that's a major change in our life, whatever major means to us, or it just could be life's natural progression. You know, we grow. Part of that's growing older. Part of that is growing in experience. Sometimes it's just those existential big questions start showing up very loudly in our minds and in our hearts. What's our purpose? Is there a God? Does God love me? What happens when I die? All those questions come through, and they put us on that spiritual path, that searching path. When once you get on the path, Chopra talks about how this light appears again, that where there's been emotional darkness. When we're in a crisis, there's some emotional darkness. When we're in an existential crisis, when we start having those deeper questions about life, the bigger picture of life, there's an emotional darkness because we can't see yet. But when we get on the path, all of a sudden, things do have that lightness to it, a greater clarity to it. And things really begin to change in our life. Because for some reason, it's like all the things that we're holding on to, don't let me go forward, I don't want it to change, I'm going to stay back here, they just kind of start dissolving away. And there's an ease in the flow and the movement. We start becoming less fearful, less anxious, if you will. We become joyful, just like that little girl throwing leaves in the Daily Word picture today, you know, about loving. Just that great, great joy and feeling a state of grace. I think the most important shift for me when I became conscious, I think we're always on the spiritual path, but sometimes we become conscious of it. Switching from the universe is conspiring against me to conspiring with me. Do you ever feel those days that the world is out to get you? That you are just set up to fail. Might as well go back to bed. Nothing good is going to come out of this day. And all of a sudden something shifts within you and you start seeing how you're getting support from the most surprising places. It just shows up like that black hole sending out those rays of light dancing with each other. When Chopra talks about how the path opens for us, remember we're doing this spiritual path thing as a human being, learning to express more of our inner spiritual self. So there's going to be human things that are very loud at us at the beginning. Things like fear, suffering, attachment to things that seem so real and important. And as we start entering the path, as we start seeing this light, we start getting an awareness of our centeredness. We start living life from the inside out instead of from the outside in. Instead of responding to what is happening, we are taking the action to make that movement in our world. Intuition. We all have such great intuition. I am so deaf to it sometimes. Who me? How should I know that? So I ignore it and then I go, Psh, I knew that. Why didn't I do that? Anybody else do that? I mean, you know. Driving is probably the greatest example where you know you should take a different route. It doesn't make sense. So you take your normal and there's construction. Of course there's construction. It's Michigan. Creative intelligence that gives us a little more information than we logically have in our life. That higher intelligence, the dream, that part of visioning of what you have not seen yet, but what is possible. That's when you start making that greater leap beyond the cultural, physical world, if you will, until we have those moments of transcendence. And a moment of transcendence is an aha moment. For most of us, it doesn't last but a blink of the eye. But you come back with a feeling that what isn't important really isn't important. You have a greater perspective on the value of things, of what's really important in our lives. You have those moments, in those moments of transcendence, all of a sudden you do feel the oneness. You stand on the grass, and you are the grass, you are the earth, just in that beautiful, blissful moment, if you will. So what did Jesus do to travel this path? How did he get on this path? Well, it starts out, and this is one of the favorite stories of mine in the Bible, after he was baptized, after he had this public awakening, he goes off to the desert by himself. And while he's out there, he's having an existential crisis. He's asking himself these questions. Do I become a great carpenter, laborer, farmer, do those things, be very beneficial to my community? Or do I become a spiritual teacher? And who am I to become a spiritual teacher? He went out there for 40 days and 40 nights, which whenever we see that number in the Bible, as long as it takes, you know. the ark, it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. It took 40 days and 40 nights for the water to recede. Whenever you see 40, it's not literal, it's just that indication as long as it takes. So he went out there for as long as it took to figure this out. And it's kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We know that our first need is for physical, water, air, and then we need safety, and then you get up to comfort, and then you get up into more esoteric needs of ours. But you got to fill those first things first. So when you think about what he thought about, what he might have been thinking about out there in the desert, the first temptation is bread, to turn these stones into bread, to meet that very physical need. He's hungry. He's out there in the desert. Will you give it up for food? And then he said, how about test God, throw yourself down and let the angels lift you up. It's that whole kind of thing of power. Once we know that we have our basic needs met, what power do we have? What influence do we have? Where can we take control of my life and maybe somebody else's, you know? And then that final one about, he really had to decide if he was going to worship the worldly. And worship is an Eric Butterworth term that says, we're not worshiping something outside of ourselves, but it's the worth, understanding our worth. And do we give the worth to the world, or do we give that worth to that spiritual part within us? And if you think about it, the ecstasy of the ego is wonderful. We've all felt it. That great pat on the back, that time we've been lifted up emotionally, where it feels like the whole team has you up on their shoulders, and, you know, and you're just in that ego ecstasy. And it's pretty exciting, and it's pretty addictive. And on the other hand, there's a spiritual experience, feeding our spiritual hunger, that has an equal ecstasy to it. And we always there's not a right or wrong choice, it's just a choice that we're making on this path. So, Jesus, how did he live? In atonement, at one-ment. And I love the idea that at one-ment, that meant the root of that word means an act or process, a state or condition. Can you imagine if we could live in that condition to always be at one-ment? Be in that condition, to be at one, to really understand the cause and effect that not only our actions, but our thoughts and our emotions have on the world. He ate. He abstained from fasting even. He partied with the unchurched and the unclean. I told you he was a rebel. He had a trade. He did fishing. He was quite good at it in carpentry. He took time in solitude, time apart, time to hear that still small voice that was guiding his light. And through it all, he was never finished, was my sense of it. He was always walking, traveling someplace. He was learning. He was observing. He was listening. He was always a work in process. He was life expressing. So some of the ways that he expressed and the very miracles that are reported in the New Testament, a lot of them, I think all of them have that deeper meaning. And whether something happened physically or not, the lesson is where the meat of it is, the lesson of how it impacts into our heart. So with the idea of oneness, at one-ment includes nature. And so it's ecological. And eco means relationship. Logical means logos, the word. So the relationship with the word, our relationship with our creative power that we have within us. Think about that. Ecology, our relationship with creation. Different way of looking at it. Different way of looking at it. And the idea of the storms, that he calmed the storms when the boat was having trouble, peace be still, that can hit us as when things are very emotionally and turbulent in our life, to go back to that peace be still. There's a beautiful room at Unity Village that when you go in there, peace be still, and you hear that and it makes you take a breath. I mean, when we're turbulent, we have a tendency to stop breathing, the very thing we need the most. Peace be still just brings that breath into you. Or walking on water, that idea about don't be afraid. The universe is conspiring with you, not against us. not against us. And the miracle is the idea of healing, and there are reports of a lot of healing. But when he looked at somebody, he did not see them as broken. He did not see them as somebody that needed to be fixed. He listened, and he held that vision of seeing them in their wholeness, always saying, your faith has made you well. Not, I'm the magician that came forward here and fixed you. Your faith has made you well. That it always has to be our journey, our internal journey as you go through there. Miracles of prosperity that we're told about him. Of course, even if you didn't go to Sunday school, you probably heard the story of the fishes and the loaves where he fed 5,000 people with a few loaves of bread and a couple fishes. That idea of expansiveness, that once a few people, gave what they had, there was enough for all. Once we released that singularity and that sense of lack. Or there's a great story in the book where the disciples were out fishing, weren't doing very well, and when they threw the net over on the right-hand side, they caught 153 fish. And why they counted the fish and decided that was important to put in the Bible, I will never know. But we can probably go into the metaphysics of it another time. But again, this idea of the abundant flow when we're at one, or when they needed to pay taxes and they caught a fish with a coin in his mouth, just enough. Now, we may not catch a fish, but things will happen where something flows into our life that just when we needed it, and you go, wow, can you believe that? Yes, you can, because it's that one-ment that we're all in. He could see beyond any appearance of lack into that appearance to the truth of the abundance. The truth of the abundance in this. And metaphysically, the idea of fish is that idea that ideas multiply and they're free-flowing. Think about how fish live in schools of thought. So when we have an abundance of ideas always flowing through us that will lead us to that gateway, that source. And you use the sense of ideas. We've never run out of ideas. Have you ever been without an idea, even if it is, I don't have an idea? No, we don't have an empty head. So that helps us realize that source is inexhaustible, that it continues and it continues. So what would Jesus do? He's non-resistant to the world outside. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's. Give to God what is God. Creative intelligence. Be in the world. Participate. But don't let the world control you. Be in the world but not of the world. And finally, express that you are empowered, that you do have choice. And as you are empowered, you empower others. When people see you as being empowered, it gives, it's like you see that first person break the 4-minute mile. You empower others to do it too. And as he said, greater things than these will you do. So ultimately, what will the Christed consciousness do? Because that's what we're talking about. I think Jesus inspired these stories of capabilities of the infinite with his spiritual journey. It's really about us finding out about that Christed consciousness within us. To live not the letter of the law, but the spirit of the law, that greater. I'm not talking about speeding here, folks. Please don't go out and say, my minister said I should go to the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. But that greater good, if you will. Loving God with all your heart, and loving your neighbor as yourself. And there's this wonderful little story about, you can think about what would love do? If you're not a Jesus person, Christ still has some buttons for you. What would love do? And this woman was a cashier in a supermarket, a big lineup. It's the express line. And this little boy is coming through the line with a loaf of bread. And there's some impatient people behind him. And as he comes up there, he takes out all of his coin. It's all pennies. And the grumbling behind. And so she counts them out, and he's 28 cents short. So she wrote on the slip, the drawer is 28 short, and stuck it in the drawer and put him on, and let him go through. That's what love would do. Love doesn't measure. Love acts in the moment. Not criticizing somebody for how they're showing up, but just doing that great, great act of love. So it's about us creating what we can with what we have as we are divinely guided. So let's just take a moment in meditation. Let's just take a moment to connect. Let's just close our eyes and remember those 3 conscious breath we talked about a few weeks ago. Just bringing us here to this moment, this time, this space, this place. Allowing ourselves to awaken within, to that light, and the way that light speaks to us. There is a resonance that allows us to feel into the oneness, to become at-one-ment, atonement, day after day, moment by moment. And as we step into that space of being, of thinking, and feeling, it is revealed to us more and more how we are connected. Connected in those ways of ease and of grace. Connected in those vibrations of love and peace. Connected as both the empty hand reaching out and the full hand providing. The circle of love, the flow of life. And so we celebrate the journey that we have chosen for ourselves. The steps that we take, the understanding that we grow, and most of all, our increased capacity to love one another without limits. And so it is. Amen.
I'm raising the veil between me and my God. No separation, no distance at all. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil. I'm raising the veil between me and my God. No separation, no distance at all. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. God is right here in my heart. I'm raising the veil. I want to know you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil. I want to see you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil. I want to hear you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil. I want to feel you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil. I want to praise you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil. I want to love you. Oh God, I'm raising the veil. I'm raising the veil.
So, spiritual practice for the week, what would you do? Trade what you want the most in the moment for what you really want the most. Trade what you want at the moment for what you want the most. Then your life that you build will be no less than incredible. Okay, that's what it looks like when you're incredible. Okay, with that, I get to invite Winalee back. I want to be a dog bouncing through the air with a ball in my mouth. Invite Winalee to come back up here with some music. Did you want 72 of those?
Yeah. Test. It's on. It's on. So that was a hint of what's coming that I'd love you all to sing with me. But first, a verse from a wonderful group called Beautiful Chorus, and it's a cappella. I totally relate to these lyrics. This little light of mine, it used to be too scared to shine. And when mine met yours, it would run and hide. But in time, I came to find I want to shine so bright I make the whole world shine and take back the beautiful feeling that allows me to be whatever I want to be. And I want to be free and easy. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Gonna let it shine, shine all around the world. Shine, shine, you know you want to. Shine, shine all around the world. Shine, shine everywhere I go. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Gonna let it shine, shine. Everybody say, shine, shine. You know you want to. Shine, shine all around the world. Shine, shine. Call and response. When there's light in the soul,
when there's light in the soul,
there is beauty in the person.
there is beauty in the person.
When there's beauty in the person,
When there's beauty in the person,
there is harmony in the home.
there is harmony in the home.
When there's harmony in the home,
When there's harmony in the home,
and there is order in the
there is
nation.
order in the nation.
When there's order in the
When
nation,
there's honor in the nation,
there is peace in the world. No more living in fear. We're gonna let it shine. Oh, no more living in fear. We're gonna let it shine. Oh yeah. No more living in fear. We're gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Gonna let it shine, shine. Everybody sing. Shine, shine. You know you want to. Shine, shine. All around the world. Shine, shine again. Everybody sing, shine, shine, you know you want to. Shine, shine, all around the world. Shine, shine. Woo-hoo! Yeah! Unity Band.
I was wondering who was platforming. I forgot. You were going to switch sides of the stage.
Is this on test? It is. Yay. Did the hint work? All right. Yeah, absolutely. Let's keep shining. Now is the time we create a sacred circle of generosity by sharing of the blessings we have received. We know that the gift we give is not a debt we owe, it is a seed we sow from a consciousness of abundance. For those in person in our sanctuary, please place your cash or check in the glass jar on the table. Alternately, whether in person or online, you may point your phone at the QR box on our screen and give that way. Regular givers, electronically or by mail, may affirm their gifts with an affirmation token in your hand placed over the jar or your heart. We bless the gifts as we share our love and our treasure by affirming together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive. I praise, give thanks, and am glad. Forming a circle of generosity, we thank everyone for their continued generous support of Unity through many channels, electronically, by mail, and in person. Our circle includes acts of gratitude for these many gifts of sharing our gifts with others. The fourth quarter tithes are divided among the remaining nominees: Helping Women, period, Meta Peace Team, and City Rescue Mission. These are all organizations focused on people helping people with their dignity, peace, and physical needs. We'll continue acknowledging our blessings as we sing, I'm So Grateful. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, 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 I'm so grateful. Derek is here today? Nope. Okay. So let us take a moment to deeply immerse ourselves in gratitude by collectively blessing the gifts received on our table. Repeating together. Given in love, received in love, we dedicate these gifts to do the will and work of Holy Spirit, and so it is. Amen. 72 little lights of mine, we're gonna let it shine. I love props, they're fun. So let's turn up the dimmer switch, illuminate the sanctuary with our 72 little lights. help reduce climate change with a switch to LED bulbs. A reminder that on the table there are special envelopes. I even read that prior to coming, and Sharon had to remind me. So another reminder, they're on your table. You may use that. Yes, here comes another edition.
If there are not enough envelopes on your table, please, you can use the regular envelopes and just write on it, buy a light or light bulb, or on the bottom of your check in the memo section, just write lights or light bulb on that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Fantastic. So we hope to have the bulbs all adopted by November 3rd. Something else? Thank you. And as Lisa reminded us, on Saturday, October 26th from 6 to 8 is Trunk or Treat. So we'd love to have a couple more cars join us on that Saturday for this special event for neighborhood kids and any others that visit. If you're ready to bring your decorated trunk to the parking lot, sign up on the list on the credenza. Somebody must be ready to decorate their trunk as Penny.
Penny,
Oh.
eating bread.
Oh, I'm not familiar with Penny, the trunk-eating bridge. But now I know. Okay. All right. Next Sunday, we're offering you a risky invitation. Come in costume if you dare, or if you just want to have fun. Costumes certainly aren't mandatory, but they will be welcome. No tricks, simply the treat of dressing up. Today, following the service, the Leadership Council is having their biannual meeting in the Upper Lodge, and next week following the service is a brief town hall to update us all on the state of affairs of the third quarter. You do not have to be a member to attend. The November Unity Pulse is on your table with details of our activities here at Unity. There's also a flyer and special envelope on your table to remind us to buy lights to put an extra shine on our sanctuary. Feel free to take a copy of the Unity Pulse and the insert with you. You may also check Unity's website or sign up for weekly e-news to keep you current on what's happening. So let us now join a conscious community together as we sing the peace song. Feel free to stand, join in the circle, respect your neighbor by holding hands or sensing each other's presence.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God is within us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Oh, thank you. Cool lights.